are turning blue. It's the emptiness surrounding a broken girl who came unglued. We must reconnect all the pieces and lead this on to bury the path that keeps breaking us. Admit to the fact that you can't hold on. And I found out a simpler way to extract your selfish ways. It's the empty smile you're faking that shows the lack of change. Still the thought of you just fading. It's just too much to take. We must reconnect all the pieces and lead this on to bury the path that keeps breaking us. Admit to the fact that you can't hold on. Picking the pieces up as they fall, one by one, as we try and rebuild this wall. Don't laugh as they fall. We must reconnect all the pieces and lead this on to bury the path that keeps breaking us. Admit to the fact that you can't hold on. Spinning colors paint a picture not so easy on the eyes. Let's give it one more try, all on another, just to make it through the night. Tell me everything will be alright. Only lonely, alone tonight, telling the secrets they held inside. Face it, you're take my hand, and take my hand, and take my hand. Take what you wanted from me. Now you're going to leave again. It's over forevermore. This is what you wanted to see. Rip the heart out of me again. It's lying on the floor. Take what you wanted from me. Now you're going to leave again. It's over forevermore. This is what you wanted to see. Rip the heart out of me again. It's lying on the floor.
Action.
What's up, everybody? Are we live though? For real?
Action. Action.
Are we live? Hello? Okay.
Action.
Hello? Hello?
Action.
Anybody there?
Why isn't this working?
Jesus. Oh,
Action.
goody good. Action. It's just slap the thing. Welcome back, everybody, to Nerds Date. We appreciate it. Phil and Billy are both here, and I'm here, and we welcome you.
I am so disappointed. I'm so disappointed my toasty doesn't pop in frame. Well, I guess it does a little bit.
Thank God. We don't need any more disappointment.
I'm getting ready for vacation next week that I decided to take today. Work burnout is a real thing. It has been one of those things where it's just been creeping up on me this week, and I was just like, I got to do it. Like, this is the best opportunity. I'm taking it, and I'm just going to make sure everything's covered, and my boss can just kind of be okay about that.
So what that means is look out for some Jeebus Crisis streams. There's going to be some random ones, and it's going to be awesome.
Probably like, yeah, probably obscene stuff.
Ooh, yeah, my favorite.
Everything the kiddies like at the 18 plus club.
Maybe some shit pickle.
Yeah, I will begin farting for subs on stream.
Oh, nice. I don't even need subs. I'll just do that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, 400 bigs for ankles. Yep.
Okay. Good to know. I might do that. Okay, I kind of love me some ankle action.
Donate $10 and I'll wear a taco outfit.
Okay. Any other tiers you care to mention right now?
For $100, I will just stop streaming.
I'll retire it.
The minute it comes in, I'll turn it off.
For 100?
Yeah, for $100, I'll just stop the stream all.
Now,
together.
in 15 minutes, it might happen again, but
no. If for the day, it'll be done. I'll be like, oh, $100. All right, bye.
That's awesome.
Peace out.
Quit while you're ahead. I love it.
Oh, but other than that, I'm doing good.
Awesome, dude. Mission creep's real, man. I'm feeling the same thing. Just slide in some PTO, just a week chunk, just to kind of reset and just be able to chill a little bit. That means a lot.
It's been it's been one thing after the other lately. So, but I am looking forward to my niece's birthday this weekend. So there's some light there, and then have the rest of the week off to just chill around the house, actually catch up on some games I really wanted to put some time into. I started playing Dragon Quest 11. Somebody had recommended me download the demo for free, which, by the way, you can still do. And I got into it, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm gonna end up buying this. There's probably there's probably easily like 1,000 hours in that game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Massive. Like there's so mumuch stuff outside of the main quest, and I kind of screwed up early on and grabbed one of those side quests that I have no intention of ever completing, and because I'm just trying to get through the main quest. I want to see all the want to see all the cool stuff first. So,
have you ever picked up a demo and played like an hour or two of it, and you're like, I love this so much, I don't want the demo to give me any spoilers, and
false
just
hope or something? Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've done that before. And
The
and it's
spoilers
like,
thing, I'm not thinking. I don't know about the spoilers though. I'm trying to
well,
think.
I mean, like game engine maybe introduces you to a boss, or I don't know. I just don't want to ruin excitement if I'm really loving the demo that much. And then I might go back and play the demo if it was totally different, because some games do that.
So when it comes to demos, if I get that feeling where I'm getting really too into the game and I know I'm going to end up buying it, I'll just stop playing because I don't want to spoil stuff. I think what was that? It was the Uncharted demo that came out. I think it was with Uncharted 2.
Yeah.
I played that, but I was like, I don't know. It was the same thing you would see at like the E3 or whatever. And that's not E3. The old school game shows they used to do. What am I thinking of?
Dude, I can't even remember off the top of my head.
My brain is jello today. I've been coding so much crap lately.
Nice. Well, it's a nice chance to chillax and just BS about some gaming news.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's awesome, dude. Enjoy the PTO. Hope to see you some, but I'll definitely chime in on some streams if you have them. I'm sure you will. But yeah, that's awesome.
I'm sure there'll be a couple. There's probably going to be a couple days where I'm not going to do anything, but there's probably going to be days where I'm just going to be like, yeah, fuck it. I'm going to play games anyway.
Yeah. Might take a couple hour break and then play another 6 hours.
Pretty much. Yeah. I definitely want to go and like smoke some ribs. I want to get a brisket down this year, a couple of them. And then maybe some pork, obviously pork shoulders, just because it's easy. But I definitely want to get some use on the smoker this year, because last year I didn't really get an opportunity. I think there was one chance where I was kind of seasoning it, like kind of burning some wood through it and making sure it was still clean and everything. And I smoked a pizza on it, which is pretty good. And why not?
Yeah. If you're already there, go for it. But if you go through all of that effort just to smoke a pizza, boy, what a waste.
Exactly. So I definitely want to make up for it this year.
Nice.
Get some brew under the belt.
Get some brews, smoke some ribs. Yeah, that sounds like Blastio. I might have to bring the Switch over or something.
Just saying.
I mean, there's always a cover at the door, and I'm willing to pay.
No, if I end up doing it though, and there's a lot left over, yeah, I'll probably just be like, hey, I need people to come eat my meat.
Throw that shit up on OnlyFans.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, speaking of which, Bill's got an OnlyFans. Check it out. It's may or may not be what you think it is. So
I mean, I would pay 16 hours for your smoked meat.
Nice.
Yeah. OnlyFans.com/Jeebus Crisis. Go check out my meat.
A lot of Jeebus name drops. Loving it. So on that high note, let's start off with some low shit. How about some for those who have never heard about Nintendo and lawsuits in the same sentence, it's not good. It's never good. There was like in what is it, the late 80s, like a 12-year-old or 8-year-old or something, it was really dissatisfied with his baseball game and with his original NES. And I think his parents were they were connected to a lawyer somehow, and the lawyer sued the hell out of Nintendo, and all he wanted was his money back, and Nintendo didn't do it, and it turned into a pretty famous lawsuit, especially for the day. It was a big deal. It was made national news, and Nintendo refused to budge. And from that point forward, I don't think Nintendo's ever lost. I mean, if you count class actions where they pay each console owner like $1.37 for defective garbage, I wouldn't count that as a loss. They probably build that in the price of consoles, FYI, for everyone.
It was 1990, and it was Major League Baseball.
Yeah. Because we've talked about it before. Like the jerseys were wrong, and the cover didn't match the game, and it was properly shitty. So the kid had a point, but Nintendo didn't care.
Well, and isn't there another one? There was another one where they were suing over the Joy-Con drift.
Yeah,
was that 2019 or 2020?
I think it started like the year of the Switch. So we're looking, what, 5 years back, 2016. So I think it's been going on since the inception. Because anymore, they make class actions for anything like immediately. Oh man, I forgot to put that in our news, but Dell has a pretty sweet one going on about proprietary hardware. And Phil, if you remember it when we get down to PC stuff, remind me and I'll talk about it because Dell's pretty shitty. Like straight up, don't buy Dell. They're shitty. Alienware is trash, and for those who don't know it, FYI, it's bad shit. Don't buy it.
Dude, I mean, I guess the only real reason to use Dell is if you're a corporate machine because of their replacement
buying power.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know of anybody who's bought like a Dell. I mean, even back in the you're getting a Dell.
Yeah.
I was never really enthusiastic about getting a Dell, despite the commercial.
And it worked well for them because that's about the time they bought Alienware. So that doesn't mean it was a good move. That means Alienware was kind of weird and had arguably powerful stuff, but boy, it turned into hot trash real quick after that.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why Dell has to go out of their way to try to build like their own custom cases and weird crap like that. But I guess they just don't want you buying their stuff and then upgrading it to something else that's incompatible.
Oh boy, we're going to get into that. But engineered obsolescence comes to mind, and proprietary tech that they say is upgradable. That's the big piece of why it's a problem. And they caught Dell with their pants down. So we'll get into that here in a little bit. But the Pokemon leakers, the latest Pokemon that's just kind of been debuted and shown, Reddit, Discord, 4chan was kind of like the main areas that these leaks happened. And it was a small group of people, like a few individuals that leaked this stuff. And they each had to pay 150 grand plus damages, plus lawyer fees. So I don't know what the whole amount is, but like when that hammer came down, it's 150 G's plus each person. So just for leaked images, this isn't like source codes and major hacks or anything. This is just like, they released a couple of the new Pokemon characters, just showed some pictures, didn't really explain much behind it. But man, Nintendo, you have to think the IPC for Pokemon is probably the most valuable in the world. So it's kind of a big deal. Yeah. I heard that term. I'm like, damn. And you think about it and you're like, shit, that franchise is...
It's everywhere, dude.
It's globally, like, it's a powerhouse. Pokemon is a monstrous deal. And it's not just video games. Video games is a small piece of it anymore. You just think marketing, movies, TV shows, cards.
Yeah, I was going to say the card pack thing.
Holy shit, it's everywhere.
You
can't walk in Japan 20 foot without being bombarded with Pokemon shit.
Well, and I wonder, shit, I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. Like, I've seen people open up those card packs and stuff and all freaking out over the different types of cards that are ultimate rarities and stuff like that. And they'll buy like cases and cases of cards just to find those rare cards.
Dude, I never collected baseball cards in the day. Wasn't into Magic, but in middle school, I got into the OG Pokemon, and I still have them somewhere. And I didn't spend thousands or anything stupid on them, but I've got a decent collection. I collected rares. I didn't even play the damn card game. I played Nintendo Game Boy.
Yeah,
played that for sure. But
I don't remember Pokemon. Sorry,
Pokemon.
I remember Magic the Gathering being a big thing when I was younger. Everybody had some kind of Magic deck, and you'd be in school and like in between breaks, you'd just be throwing around down and pick it up later.
It's still huge. And now, like back then, kids would spend $200-300 on like their deck and all their collectibles just in the cards with Magic. And now it's like, if you're a true collector, you're starting at $1,000. It's absolutely batshit crazy what people are spending on that stuff.
I wish I could go find those old baseball card books me and my brother put together. I bet we got some gems in there.
I'm sure you probably do.
We used to bicycle down to the game shop, but they would be selling the baseball cards there, and we'd just buy a couple packs of those. And Every once in a while, we'd come across a really good player at the time. We're like, oh yeah, we're gonna keep this for our collection, you know.
And poof. Like anything good when we were kids. Man, I had a Ghostbusters Ecto 1 back in the day, and I treasured that thing. And I know my mom fucking garage sailed the hell out of that. And I'm
You
still.
realize how much money that thing could be worth?
Oh, it's worth a lot. I unfortunately I Googled it, and it's pretty sad.
Damn.
And I wouldn't even sell it. I'd just keep that fucker on the shelf behind me. I freaking love Ghostbusters.
I always giggle a bit when I'm down in the basement ruffling around with stuff and I come across my Game Boy, and it has the Game Boy case with the games, the game slots, the extra battery, and the magnifying glass.
Oh yeah, with the light on it.
Yeah.
Gigantic fucking flip over thing. Yes.
Yep.
Oh yes.
Yep. And it still works. It still powers on. You just got to put batteries in it.
Yeah, and keep the batteries out because those batteries
Yeah, they
screw it up.
They just
Ask me
screw it
how
up
I know with my original Game Boy. It turned into a rusty fucking coral reef after a while.
That's gross.
Yeah. Yeah. Sticking shit in the basement for 10 years and not touching it with batteries is not a bueno idea.
It's still though, it's fun to pop that thing or turn that thing on and play. My favorite game was the RC racing, but it was like with like Micro Machines RC racing.
Yeah, yeah. You see the big like whip antenna on the back of it that would flop in the wind. Yeah, dude, I love the hell out of that game. That
Still
had a good flow to it, like cruising at the
Yeah.
arcade back in the day. How that game was so much fun because of the flow.
Oh no, it was RC Grand Prix. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
It's Micro
RC
Machines.
Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that was fun game. So, anyways, if you think Nintendo has done you wrong, which I'm sure they have at some point if you've played them for very long, don't sue them. Just don't buy it anymore. Like you're not going to win anything from Nintendo,
They have a lot of money to throw at lawsuits.
and they do every time. They probably have like a bank of lawyers in each country on retainer just for Nintendo, and they're probably very expensive.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh.
if you think about it, if they get sued for like $100 million, they still
Probably-
have hundreds of millions of dollars after paying off that lawsuit.
If yeah, when they win, they still probably pay $100 million just in their attorneys and time spent and all that crap, and they still walk away happy. So it's just like suing Apple. It doesn't work. Epic they did a really good job putting a dent in their armor, and we're still seeing how that's playing out. And it's changing video games as we know it, but Apple's not going to lose. I'll just say it right now. They're not going to lose.
Well, not if their new Mac OS upgrade features mean anything.
Speaking of which, does anybody like everyone's looked and I'm sure seen and been aware of the Windows 11 leaks?
Yeah, it came out. It was announced today officially.
Was it? Yeah,
Yeah.
Right. It was like 10 o'clock or something today was it an hour or two showcase?
Oh, I didn't watch it.
Yeah. Either.
I already knew
we
everything I
knew.
needed to know from the leaks.
Yeah. We're going to have it. Unfortunately, it looks just like Mac in a lot of ways. They didn't change much. It's just a veil pulled over Windows 10. Is it called 11?
And you can turn it off too. Like you can turn off the Mac look to make it look more like the traditional thing that you're used to.
I can't imagine there's not going to be major fallout somewhere.
Well, Windows 10 was supposed to be the last OS with just upgrades, right? Because that was the first time it went from operating system to a server or service.
Yeah.
And then they already said in the announcement today, they were like, Windows 11 is kind of like an iteration, which means that we're going to get another fucking Windows.
Uh-huh. And the whole point of Windows 11 becoming a thing was for mobile environment. So they changed the OS to look similar to what it was, but realistically, the mobile OSs match your desktop and it flows and transitions better. And that's realistically why they did it, because Apple did it and it works. And Apple's still polishing their version. So yeah, it's the right move. It looks a little funky. I think Microsoft is probably going to be sued, if not already, for how it looks suspiciously close to Apple, but whatever.
I just wonder why. Like who in the design room said, okay, I know it looks like Mac, but
it's not.
But it's
And here's
not.
why.
Yeah. I don't know how that happened.
Marketing people, they're a special breed, and a lot of times there's these focus groups that come up with great ideas, and then it gets released to the public, and everyone's like, "What the hell did you just do? That's a horrible idea."
I wonder if they're trying to appeal to Linux users, because is it Ubuntu or is it? I can't remember which version it was of Linux, but it kind of has the same Mac OS appeal where it has everything on the center.
Ubuntu.
Is that Ubuntu? Yeah. Okay.
I don't know enough about Linux, but I
have a feeling that it's kind of like they're trying to appeal more to that, because a lot of people are saying, yo, fuck Windows, we're going to go to Linux, which Linux is hands down the leanest thing you can run. So
absolutely
Linux
the
is
fastest,
yeah,
less shit in the back, way less shit in the background. It works on everything. I mean,
if I could get all the programs that I want to work on Linux, I would switch completely. But unfortunately,
yeah,
without
no
knowing
support.
massive amounts of knowledge to be able to convert those to work for Linux, I can't use Linux.
It's gotten better. I remember the original, not the original, but way back in the day when I first encountered Linux, it was nearly impossible to get anything to run on it because there was no compatibility support. But I think it was when I saw, I want to say it was like Final Doom or something like that said that it was Linux capable. I was like, oh, shit's starting to change.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, it's pretty rare to see that there's no Linux support, which is kind of weird. But there are definite applications where zero Linux support.
Yeah, where you would be able to figure out how to make it work if you knew how to do that kind of thing.
Yeah,
yeah, and it's not just getting it to work one time. We live in a live environment, just like consoles, where everything's connected to the internet. It auto updates, firmware, security, all of that. And every time something like that changes, it can ruin everything you've done to get it to be compatible. So that's where it's a problem, is you're constantly having to mess with it just to get it to work right.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you keep up your updates, it's really not as bad. It's you got to watch out for the major updates where they're making extreme changes to the kernel and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I'm painting a bad picture, but it's very doable. A lot of people do it, and props to them.
Oh, I've run a million different versions of Linux machines on all kinds of stuff. If there's a device that you can get to actually load up a Linux OS, you can explore all the hardware on that device. You get low level access to everything.
Yep.
And you can play with all the hardware on it too if you know how to address it. But I think Linux is great. If you're looking for a free operating system and don't want to screw around with Windows, there's plenty of versions. Linux Mint is usually the go-to that I recommend.
Oh yeah.
If you want the really good desktop environment that's kind of Windows, that's always a great one to start with.
Yeah, for sure. I dabbled in Linux back in the day. We're talking a while ago, and it was no viruses. Everything was twice as fast, if not faster, than anything on Windows. Just you're not having to use horsepower to crunch through all that background bullshit, and Linux just works. And you don't like that? Close it out.
There's I think the last kind of attack on Linux was for the sudo root, or sudo, depending on how you like to pronounce it. But it's basically just a function that you use to get root access for running something once. There was some sort of exploit that was found. It's already been patched. So, the chance of getting a virus on a Linux machine, while not impossible, is very, very low.
Yeah. And if you do,
you went to some dirty shit, man.
Yeah. It's not the end of the world.
You had to seek that one out. They don't come find you.
you're the underbelly of the internet pretty deep if that's where you're headed, and there's an expectation to being that low, and none of us have been there. Wink, wink. So
you've never been on the dark web?
Oh, never.
Oh, dude, I love just poking around the dark web. There's all kinds of cool stuff out there.
I actually have never been on the dark web myself.
What?
You've got the Brave browser, right?
Yeah.
So just open up a Tor Onion and get crack-a-lackin'.
Yep. Make it happen, Cap'n. It's pretty awesome. Be careful, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You could go way too deep.
I'm not gonna stumble onto a murder room. It's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not your worries right there.
There's all kinds of stuff out there. It's weird.
Yeah.
It almost feels like the way the internet should have been all along.
Yeah. Unbridled, unfiltered. Yes, I agree.
Anyway.
And yeah, if you stumble into something you don't like, get the hell out of there, you know?
Like a murder room.
Yeah, I
Sure.
mean, it's going to be obvious you're about to go into a murder room.
I know.
They will tell you. They will tell you before you click.
I know. There's a splash screen. I've watched YouTube videos.
There you go. There you go.
All
There's
right,
a
so
splash screen, and you have to pay to enter.
you quasi visited the dark web.
Yeah. Vicariously.
Yeah,
I've watched a lot of dark web videos on YouTube.
dude, you got to go. You just got to poke around on it for yourself. Just don't do anything illegal, obviously. But
Yeah.
dude, it's fucking crazy. There's even like a dark web Facebook and
Mhm.
it's like, wow, you're really gonna put your stuff? Okay.
Yep. Yep. All over the place. Oh my God. Yeah. I can't remember where I found that, but I was blown away that that was a thing and it was legit and very popular. And
Yes.
yeah, it's real. And I could not believe somebody would put it out there, but okay.
Why not?
Screw it. You only live once, right? In a murder room very shortly. So Nintendo, the last bit we've got, Nintendo, instead of acquiring other studios, it looks like Nintendo's offering support in a fashion of significant financial wealth support. So I'm sure there's reasoning behind it, but I feel like as a major corporation, and Phil, you can add color to this, when you swing a lot of money at something to gain IP or help somebody jointly gain IP with you, you already are kind of in that legal exposure area.
Yeah.
So if that money is justified, why don't you just purchase the damn thing? So, I mean, if you've worked with a company that did really shady things and you spent a lot of money with them on something that wasn't shady, but you're attached to that name and you dumped a lot of money together, you're still screwed if that company goes down in flames for some crazy shit. So you might as well just own it, and then you can. I don't know. I feel it's weird that Nintendo with Forever Entertainment, which they've made a bunch of Switch games, but they're dumping millions and millions, probably few hundreds of millions of dollars into this Forever Entertainment to help them keep pushing Switch games out the door.
Yeah, it didn't give an exact dollar amount, but I can't imagine it being a small amount. And they're just saying we're just going to support them with a fund for Nintendo Switch development.
A fund is not a Kickstarter of 50 grand.
It sounds
that's
like
hundreds of millions. Because what AAA game is over, it's hundreds of millions just for one game, really. So a Switch, you can scale that down probably a little bit, but still, if it's going to be a few games in a couple years, like that's a lot of money. That's
and didn't Forever also is partnered up with Square Enix
in a way, yeah.
They're doing the remakes, I guess I should say.
Right. And Forever's had their hands in a few different things, very popular things. And just give them a Google. I could go through a list, but I just kind of captured the top of the article. But realistically, Forever Entertainment is still their own deal. But yeah, they've made a lot of joint ventures with, multiple Japan companies, multiple devs out there making these large titles of remasters. And yeah, they're a good company and make good stuff. I'm sure they've had some turds, but yeah, they're good to sink money into. I just don't know why Nintendo. To me, it's like Microsoft is just watching. And they're like, "Oh, cool! You're just funding them a bunch of money. Yeah, we're just going to buy it now." Like, I feel like that's the worry in the environment is Microsoft is just going to show up to the party and just buy it.
Yeah, they've done. Let's see. Yeah, there was Wanderlust.
Oh God,
they got a lot under here.
That was flippity flop.
Wood Zone. Okay. I don't know. Like none of these are popping out to me. Hold on. I'm just scrolling down their little titles. I mean, there's a ton of little indie like style games.
And I know
titles.
Whether they may not have taken full credit for it, but they've had their hands in some pretty massive AAAs too. Like Forever Entertainment is pretty good contract work for a lot of different titles that they don't take credit for because they didn't have the lion's share of money, obviously.
Yeah, right.
And that's any good indie developer that's been around for 20 years. Like, they've had their hands in a lot of huge titles. They just can't claim it because it isn't fully theirs.
They definitely did Teddy Floppy Bear or Teddy Floppy Ear, The Race. And then there's this other one, Mastima Out of Hell. It looks pretty fucking dope. It makes me think of the old school Sierra online games.
Oh, cool.
I'm a big fan of low pixels.
Uh-huh. If done right, absolutely. Hey, that's a big resurgence, man. I mean, Phil, you played a bunch of them. If low pixels done right, dude, is killer because it's like an art style rather than like blistering edge graphics. It's actually better gameplay, and they don't have to wow you with all this ray tracing shit.
Yeah. Well, it's better gameplay, and of course, there's the charm of the low pixel counts, but that also allows them to focus on cooler ways to use that.
Maybe a storyline and character development rather than, obviously graphics aren't like step one of what we're gonna do. Like, let's focus on cool shit.
Yeah, one that really sticks out to me that starts out very old school is Buddy Simulator 1984.
Mm-hmm.
You start that game out on basically an old school PC. You know, you're doing a text adventure, and then by the end of the game, it's full 3D, and it's full 3D, but it's not like fancy or anything. But the concept and the story that goes along with it, dude, is totally creepy.
What was that Zelda throwback to current? That game that you were talking about a few months back? Not EverQuest, but it's like
Evoland, yeah.
Evoland, yeah.
Starts out.
That's pretty sick.
It starts out like Game Boy it's like Legend of Zelda on Game Boy, and then by the end of it, you're like in a full top-down 3D kind of isomeric-ish view.
It's sweet.
Yeah, it was really fun to play both of those games. The second one was longer, but still, it was just awesome how it builds.
Yeah, Evoland, big shout out there. I've watched enough YouTube videos. Definitely playing that on the new PC. That looks fun as hell. Especially the first one. It's like 2 to 4 hours, depending on how.
Yeah, I think I beat it in about 3 hours, but I was fucking around.
Yeah, just a good time. And that's, to me, that kind of says how good, like the Switch being as good as it is and as popular as it is, outside of the Joy-Con issue, there's a way to create not so bleeding edge graphics and do it right and have a good experience.
Yeah, there was get my words working. There was another one that was kind of like that. Damn it, I can't remember the name of it, and it's not on my list anymore.
I know one of your more recent ones that's like a 8-bit, 16-bit-esque Undertale. That's another great example.
Oh yeah, Undertale was fun. Kind of a hard game with the bullet hell going on, but yeah, I liked the Nintendo charm that it had with the graphics. It was like 8-bit-ish.
Yeah, maybe better, and the fight scenes, depending on the boss, stepped it up quite a bit sometimes too. But
yeah, the very end is very weird.
Shit. I'm pissed I missed the end with watching you, but it was fun nonetheless.
It's bizarre. It's bizarro for sure. But yeah, no, I've been getting into I've been getting into those indie games lately. I did well. I mean, besides Dragon Quest 11 and Ogre Battle from the Super Nintendo, I've been digging more of the indie game stuff that I can usually whack out in about 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah. That's a good like streaming environment game where you can just
$5
out there
of your time. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, push through it, have a great time, and then boom, it's done. You don't have to have 17 chapters of a stream where you could just be like, hey, let's try something new and whack it out, like you say.
Yeah, I don't know about streaming Dragon Quest 11, but
multiple streams.
Not until I get into like some meaty battles or something. I'll be like, okay, this one's going to take me a while, so okay, maybe I'll throw it up and do it live. But I think there's a lot of time that I'm going to spend next week working on that game just by myself.
Nice. Well, let us know if you're going to host kind of a rando time. Shoot me a text or something. I'll be on it.
Sure.
Definitely, it's fun to watch you at work, and it's really good to kind of cut the monotony with some crazy douchebaggery. I love it. And Half Baked, shout out. She's always awesome too. So speaking of not so awesome, Toasty is Marvel's Avengers. Yeah, so they did what's called like a what do they call it? It's like a hot flash where it's like a immediate update to address certain stability issues. And PS5 users were basically all their personal info was kind of given away. Players' IP addresses and usernames were like flashing on the screen. That's pretty wild stuff for hotfix. That's what I'm after.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Because I was sitting there, I was thinking in my head, I was like,
Hot
what?
flash.
Hot flash? What?
It's a little warm in my office right now. My bad.
It's getting to that age, huh?
So it's funny kind of hearing these articles. Yeah, getting up there in the years. That the different outlets that I read this news and heard this news through were all just like, yeah, this is really shitty, but we're just proud people are still playing Avengers because, you know, we get to hear about this stuff. Because I don't know who plays that Avengers game, but it was pretty well terrible before it even released. And then immediately once it was released, it got horrible Metacritic reviews, as it should have. And they had some DLC that they teased and didn't follow through with. And it's just kind of been a total mixed bag of awful. I'm a huge Marvel fan, and Loki is awesome. Guys, check it out. Super good.
Well, and supposedly that thing got patched yesterday.
Yeah, they hotfix the hotfix pretty quick.
They hotfix the hotfix. Yeah, there you go. It's a giant hot something.
Steaming hot.
That's just ridiculous, though. Like, how do you put in a patch that, oh, whoops, it's just displaying personal information on the screen? Like, somebody forget to check a box before releasing it? I mean,
this goes back
to somebody
Cyberpunk.
forgot to comment out a line of code. Like, what happened there?
Yeah.
There was some test code in there that forgot to get commented out, apparently.
Yeah. I can only imagine the nightmare it is having like 4 programmers like working on the same code bases.
And they hate it.
And there's like that one turd who cannot comment to save his life. And even when they do, they make like a nonsensical comment, you know?
Yeah, like for like
this section
summer
is
intern devs out there just hammering away on it, and they just like hate each other, and everyone hates on them because they're like, how's that Marvel's game going? And you know, I can just hear the fucking lunchroom just shitting on these poor guys.
Yeah, it's probably a real thing. When I first started what I do now, I had to go clean out a lot of code, and it was horribly commented. Some of the comments didn't even make sense, and for some reason, somebody kept setting time to time. That one will still blow my mind for eternity.
Time equals time.
Time equals time. Yeah, and I was like, no shit, really? Like, okay, let's go ahead and delete this line.
Wasn't that your boss?
We won't go there.
I didn't say a name, and no one knows where you work. So,
but I remember making a comment in a call with the other 2 programmers, and I brought it up. I was like, I don't know who the hell coded this, but this is all fucked up.
And one of them just gets real quiet. It's like,
nobody said it. Nobody told me. It was actually another guy that told me after. He goes, yeah, that's this guy. And I was like, oh shit.
Uh-oh.
Like literally just told him to his face that his coding is crap. And yeah, they're the ones that write me checks.
Well, he knows now. He or she knows now.
It was a great first impression.
Yeah. So Phil doesn't put up with bullshit, and don't give him bullshit to do unless you want to hear about it.
and of course, time equals time.
That it does, unfortunately.
Honestly, the first time I saw that, I actually said it out loud to myself, time after time. It's like, God damn it.
If he was in earshot, he probably knew it was coming. He's like, oh. And he's saying that, and he's like, oh, shit. The jig's up.
The jig's up.
Oh, man. So,
but yeah, it's just really surprising that in this day and age, stuff can get dropped like that, and it's just nobody's paying attention.
And this is big.
It's your personal information.
Personal information leaks on a PlayStation console. That's pretty serious stuff.
Well, I think, was it the PS4? It's like natively built in that any sensitive stuff gets blurred out immediately on the screen when it knows it's streaming.
they all have that, but PS4 actually pretty well worked till the later years. There was some issues, but that was more or less like the dashboard changes and shit kind of screwed things up. But yeah, PS4 was pretty good about it. PS3, there wasn't really too much data to leak, you know.
Well, you couldn't stream off it anyway.
The internet connectivity was kind of.
Let me rephrase.
It happened, but it was pretty limited.
You'd have to get an HDMI splitter and a cheap one that wouldn't preserve the HDCP, and then you could stream it. Yeah.
I remember having to do that whenever I wanted to try streaming my PS3 stuff, and the first thing I bought was my Elgato, and then I plugged it in, got all excited and everything, and then it didn't work, and then I started looking it up, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you got to buy this, 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 and this, and this, and this, and this," and I'm like,
"Damn it."
Son of a bitch.
I'm glad I wasted my money.
just a little HDMI splitter, and you're golden.
I figured that out eventually.
Yeah.
There's other people who have done.
Billy went the good route first, and then it's like, no, you got to get real janky with it and spend no money. And they're like, oh, well, shit. Okay.
Just look for a Chinese manufactured HDMI splitter. Boom.
Alibaba. So this Avengers game, to close it out, it dropped right after Cyberpunk. They were both horrible, but I felt like the Avengers game played okay. It was just really terrible. But it got shrouded by the Cyberpunk, obviously. And to take like something that's household name that's so coveted and just kind of turn it into hot trash.
The other part that hurts is that's Crystal Dynamics, you know? Like these are the people that used to do Legacy of Kain and stuff like that.
What the hell happened?
They stopped making Legacy of Kain games.
People got lazy.
They could have
probably got bought out.
But
they moved most people out of the department.
They had to stop putting in Legacy of Kain series games, and it's just like, okay, fine, Eidos, and Crystal Dynamics, we could suck my left nut.
And they didn't, and it shows. So
good.
Salty and
that's what you deserve.
Showered for a week.
They were gonna do a multiplayer online game that was set in the Legacy of Kain universe.
Yeah.
And there was trailers. We saw some footage.
Yep. E3.
And nothing.
Crickets. Yeah. So
I'm not bitter, but fuck.
Yeah, it's shitty. But we're not upset about it. That's for sure.
It looked like it was going to be online multiplayer style melee stuff. So I wasn't too thrilled about that, but I was still going to play it because I'm still a fan of the series.
Absolutely. Come on, let's get some Splinter Cell. I know it's an offshoot topic, but we need some Splinter Cell for real.
Splinter Cell. Because I remember my dad actually, when I visited him over the weekend last weekend, he gave me a bunch of manuals and stuff that I'd actually left at his house, and one of them was for Splinter Cell, it was Siphon Filter. Sorry, I confused the two.
Yeah, that's awesome though.
But yeah, so now I've got this original Siphon Filter 1 and 2, and I can't do anything with them right now. But I was thinking about going back to those games and remembering how shitty they played.
Is it PS1?
There was PS1. Yeah, it was PS1.
Okay, you can pop it in your like compact disc player and listen to the audio.
That's true.
That's about all you can do.
I used to love it when games would come out on CDs like that because the audio music would always be in there.
Twisted Metal? What?
Dude, Twisted Metal was awesome.
Yeah, Rob Zombie, man. I rocked Twisted Metal in the car all the way to the house, and then I played it on my console. Dude, I was crazy about that game.
Twisted Metal was fun.
So we're gonna get into some weird theories here, but Ghost of Tsushima's kind of making the news. They updated their jewel case cover, and now it no longer says only on PlayStation in the top.
Oh my god, are you serious?
What the hell? And yeah, so everyone's speculating that it might come to PC. Here's the thing: what if it does? Ghost of Tsushima.
My entire world will be shattered, Jeff. Will you fucking drop it?
Oh my god, no, I'm not dropping it.
If it's not only on PlayStation, then
what is it on?
Why do I have a PlayStation?
You bring up a good point though, for real. Like,
I'm telling you, I mean,
it feels like, what the hell are we doing with the PlayStation?
they just gave up Uncharted, right? Uncharted's coming to PC.
Yep.
So
And Horizon Zero Dawn went to PC, and they saw a 250% increase in play. Like,
But what about that Ratchet and Clank game?
that will remain exclusive as long as humanly possible.
I don't know. I think Sony is starting to see the light of green money.
Yeah, I mean, I'd give it a year if they do it. They're gonna suckle it for a year and then drop it to PC and then suckle that money train all over again.
I have a feeling there would have to be a cycle, or like we were talking about, was it last week probably, where they're going to get into this mode of pushing everybody to digital, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, we did get in that last week. Yeah.
Okay, no, I'm not going to repeat it then.
So there is something to be said that the DualShock or DualSense is a great PC controller, haptics included. There's games starting to utilize the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers. So DualSense is a really good PC controller, and I might buy me a DualSense before I even get a PS5 just to play it on Steam.
I was just about to ask. I was like, you're talking about being able to hook it up to the PC and being able to take advantage of those haptics. I've been considering the same thing. I've been watching and eyeballing the controllers to see if any just happen to go on sale, just to pick one up and use it.
Yeah, they're not going to go on sale, but just knock $10 off, Sony. Come on.
60, what is it? It's like 65, 70 bucks.
I think it's like, I remember 60 sticking out. So yeah, it's over $60.
I know that the DualShock 4s were 60. But they would every once in a while have a sale. That's how I got my red one. Actually, I got that for $45. I was like, holy shit. And it lasted longer than my normal black ones.
Nice.
70.
Oh, it is 70.
So there might be like a Black Friday sale for
$69.99.
Yeah,
nice.
That's why the 60 sticks out, because you don't want to say 70 because it just hurts more, even though it's 70 friggin'
I disagree. It just pisses me off more to see 999.
Just $70.
99.
No,
every once in a while, you'll have some smug prick put in 89 or 79.
Yeah, you're like, stop with the marketing focus group bullshit. Stop it. It doesn't make it any better. Ooh, 89. That's cheaper.
Just make it an even number and include the taxes and fuck right off.
Yeah, I was just thinking that earlier today. I'm like, would I went to get gas, and I'm like, how come they just can't put the taxes on the stickers for shit, and then you just buy it?
Well, that's different because that's usually regulated by gas taxes.
True, but it's all built into the pump. Why can't we do that for merch? You know, I know.
I think the reason why
and all that shit.
Well, I think the reason why is like, you know, like how some days like the price of gas will change on you while you're pumping gas, and you'll notice that the price doesn't change on you as they're putting the sign up. Like I've pulled into a gas station where they've updated the price on the board, but I go to the pump and the pump is actually either lower or higher than what they've already put up on there.
Yep.
And it's just,
what gas station do you go to? Jesus, they're all digital signs anymore, even out my direction.
Well, whatever, you know what I mean. They put the price up there,
hanging up. This.
Hey man, people got to work. Okay, people got to work.
That's true. When did
shout out to the sign people for not putting up with anybody's shit.
So Ghost of Tsushima might be coming to PC, everybody. Let's hope it does. That game is badass, and I'd love to play it on real hardware, you know.
Well, yeah. I mean,
attainable hardware-ish.
It would be cool to see the capabilities if there's like an added bonus to playing them on PC. I don't know if I'm just being crooked here, but it just seems like if you're going to bring it out on PC, hopefully you're like paying attention to the possibilities that there's better hardware to take advantage of the game a little bit.
And maybe the fact that nobody can get a friggin' PS5, that also...
Interesting that you mentioned that. I thought Sony was just announcing that they're pushing up their production on the PS5 consoles.
They're pushing it up to the point where they're trying to surpass PS4 and PS1 in the first year. Unit sales. That's fucking insane.
I totally thought you were going to say, speaking of, I grabbed
one. Oh, yeah,
no,
right.
No.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
the hell out.
The they're trying to accelerate the supply, which I don't know what that means because we're in a chip shortage. So I'm guessing they're just like holding back supply until they can release like a giant like swath. I mean, I have no idea.
Giant.
I don't know.
Like, yeah, they were just like they're just retaining a bunch of inventory, and then when they're ready, they're just going to dump millions of consoles onto the market and just saturate it so that way everybody can try to get one.
But I find it kind of crazy because they debuted all this info to the shareholders about how they're going to surpass these monumental cornerstone game consoles, which are all PlayStations, in unit sales, and we're talking $500 consoles that are going to surpass sales numbers of these $350, $400 consoles. That's freaking crazy.
Well, but they were saying, it's going to be the fastest selling console. What, they were going to ship like 10 million units this year or last year, and they only shipped like 4.5.
They still shipped a lot, and they all sold before they even were for sale. So they probably could have shipped 30 million, and it would have been the same story. Yeah. They should have, because Xbox is walking all over Sony at this point. In a lot of ways, I hate to say it, but it's just the reality.
Yeah. Well,
and that's arguable.
Hey, good for them. If it sells more, awesome. I wonder if it's more. What would have been nice to hear is whether the digital or the optical drive was performing one way or the other.
I just want them all to do good. If the gaming industry is great, then we're all happy.
Just do good. Be best.
Just do gooder.
Do good.
Dead Space.
Yep.
What's going on with Dead Space? That's pretty freaking nuts.
What about it?
It looks like the EA's finally started to speak to a next installment in Dead Space, and they're quote unquote calling it reimagining the series. So
Dead Space was a really cool game.
I freaking love Dead Space. Huge fan. So
like,
it's
sci-fi horror, yeah.
Yep. So if here's my take on reimagining. I think that means they're probably going to break out of like probably the string of Dead Space games prior and maybe change it up, which is totally fine by me because the industry has evolved so much. I think if you just
and I'm tired of no more sequels.
Yes, stop the fucking sequels for real. The people that freak out that a game has changed a little bit and plays different, Final Fantasy VII Remake, freaking chill out. Like, you can't always just play the same installment. Yes, I'm nostalgic. Yes, the new Ninja Turtles game is like got my loins engorged, but not everything can ship miracles playing the exact same as it did 20 years ago or less. Like, I'm okay them changing it up a little bit. Just don't release a game that doesn't work. Like, that's number one. Number two, make it good. That is hard to ask though. But we have different developers that have made multiple Star Wars games that are, because EA is just like, they're just kind of shelling out their departments of talent to work on different IPs. And it sounds crazy, but it's working really well for them. And that EA's got a shitload of talent and they're making astronomical money on so many different things. So if they're making another Dead Space and say they're reimagining the series, as long as they don't screw it up with microtransactions and a bunch of gambling bullshit, I'm cool with it.
I was gonna say, because the original series developer EA just fucking said no more, and so of course they were reimagining it because
of course, yeah, it is a potential for money. But to Phil's point, if it's not a remastered, like, that's a win already. Because I'm tired of this remastered shit. I understand it takes many years to make a different good game, but it's been many years since we've had a Dead Space. It's been a long time.
The last one was like 2012, 13-ish, something like that.
13, yeah. Dead Space 3, which was arguable because it really wasn't new.
It's Dead Space.
Yeah. It's Dead Space. I played the shit out of it. I loved it. So as long as it's not a remastered, that's all I ask. Like, make something new, take a risk. These corporations don't want to take risks, and that's the common theme. And it makes me sad because the whole point of playing video games is it's something new, it's something different, and it's a storyline or multiplayer. This remastered garbage where they add a new level or two is like we crap our pants over excitement over a new level or two because
Bullshit.
most remasters are all the same. They're just like, here's some remastered graphics for next gen consoles, and it's the same crap with a little polish on it, and
Yeah.
they sell it for $70, and that's upsetting.
Just downright dirty.
Yeah. Dirty
But
business.
also similar to Dead Space is the Callisto Protocol, which I saw some of that footage.
Yeah.
And it looks pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
And that's
That
pretty much
looks
going
pretty
head to
wild.
head with the Dead Space series. So it's kind of interesting because that was born out of being shut down by EA, wasn't it? Was
Yep.
that Anna Hennig?
I don't know.
His names. The Uncharted person.
Ex Uncharted person?
The ex Uncharted person. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amy. I know it's Amy.
Yeah, I can't remember her last name. It's something like that. That's weird. So yeah, it's hope for good Dead Space. Speaking of
Dead Space ish is what you mean.
Speaking of space that's dead, Halo Infinite. Now Phil Spencer has narrowed down the release time to weeks instead of years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
We're gonna get a Halo Infinite sometime this year soon.
this year before Holiday 21, they are confident.
Okay.
Just that saying makes me feel less confident about it.
Yeah, if you got to say you're confident about something, I have a feeling that you're not confident
If
about
you
it.
show up to the party a year later and you say you're confident you're going to be there, and it's been over a year, and you released freaking Doritos bags, monster cans on the front of the Series X is a freaking Halo Infinite, like, damn it, that do.
I think
Damn it,
well, and here's what I hope is I hope that they heard everybody laughing at their presentation when they first debuted it. And that's why they were like, okay, they're right. You know, this does look like trash. And I hope that it comes out looking better. The last time I saw any footage on it, it didn't really look much improved. I mean, it looked better, but it just didn't look.
Well, it's funny. I was reading
It didn't
articles
make me
today
understand
about
why-
it.
Do what?
I was reading articles today about the trailer that we were originally shown of Infinite, and then the new one at E3
Yeah.
and the multiplayer, and how they were like zooming in to background shots and how they've changed so dynamically and it looks so much better. I'm like, you realize we're looking at zoomed in shots of E3 and the original Halo Infinite, and you're saying it looks much improved? That to me is like, wow, look at how much better we are. See these pixels? They're smoother. Like, fucking seriously? This is gonna be crap. It's no way it's gonna be done in a year. They'll release the campaign or the multiplayer or a piece of the game, and you watch. There's gonna be another Halo Infinite DLC that's gonna be the rest of the game.
Patch.
Yep. A year later, like this is gonna be a double release. There's no way it's all gonna be happening.
Hopefully they learned something from CD Projekt Red, and maybe they're seriously considering. You know, I don't know. I'm just trying to be positive. I agree with you. I think it might just turn out to be hot trash.
And it's probably gonna
They
play
want
off them.
cash.
But the thing is, we're jaded, and it already looked like shit, and we made fun of it, and they delayed it a year. So it tells us all that
And
we
this
were
was a
right.
launch title game. Yeah.
So, I mean, Microsoft has done a lot of great things, and I think part of them buying so many studios was because they were like, "Oh shit, our holy grail is not there, so we need to freaking do something about it. Port everything to the PC, everybody, and cloud gaming." And you know what? That's not a bad move. I'm happy about it, but it also brings back the original topic of what the fuck was going on a year ago,
Yeah.
where you had nothing but a console.
Right.
Whatever. Thank you for the PC ports, though. For real, Microsoft, keep that up. Don't screw me now.
Yeah. Only on Xbox. I remember what year was that? I think it was when the PS3 and Xbox came out. They were like tag teaming each other at the show, saying only on PlayStation, only on Xbox, only on PlayStation, only on Xbox.
And
Like-
Dwayne Johnson was out there with like Bill Gates with the original Xbox, showing how cool this console was and going against the grain. And you're just like, oh, okay. I hope it's good.
Hey, it was a fun ride. It was a reason to fight your friends.
Yeah, for real. There was a lot of Team Blue versus Team Green. I know I was Team Blue, and I almost went fisticuffs real quick.
By the way, I never once talked shitty about an Xbox person, fanboy, whatever you want to call it, when the HD DVD and the Blu-ray wars were around.
Nope.
Until
we knew the outcome. I know it happened in Sony's favor, but we knew the HD DVD was for porn. That was it.
I had to go look up the post like after it was announced that Warner Brothers had signed on to Blu-ray. I had to go find his post and be like, and I apologize if that's you that is listening somehow.
But still, ha 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 ha. They won. Finally, Sony's like, yes, Betamax is over. We win something.
Man, they caught a lot of shit for Betamax.
Yeah. I was one of the weird people that went back and forth between Team Blue and Team Green.
I tried. My PS2 pissed me off, man.
So you're part of the people's Jujay in front?
Yeah. So like I was PS1, PS2, then I was PS3 for a little bit, but then most of my friends played on Xbox 360, so I switched to that. And then
I got a 360.
And then I started off on Xbox One, got rid of it because it was not only trash, but it was also none of my friends played on it, so I switched to PS4. And then I've been a Sony boy ever since. So
I remember the X-Bone coming out, and that was they were like, "Oh, eat it, Sony! We got the super awesome Kinect camera." I'm like, that's what you have to hang your hat on, then we're all fucked.
That's right. You can see my house, you know my face, Microsoft, so you might as well love them. I mean, they have you. Let me charge another $80.
3D scan of you, because if you didn't know, you can use the Kinect. If you program it properly, you can use it to 3D scan things.
Oh yeah, and it was also 3D scanning when it was off, so that's cool.
3D scan my cat. Oh, sorry.
I'm sure they did.
I mean, 3D scan my rooster. My
helicopter.
Rooster. I happen to call it by its proper name.
Yeah. Don't judge Phil for his farm animals in his house.
He does like smoking some cock meat.
No, meat. It's
I said cock meat.
Oh. Well, no.
Chicken. Chicken. It's cock meat.
Oh. Well, anyway, so I think it's about time for a pee break.
Oh man, this is great. Thank you, Billy,
I think when we come back, we'll have some other stuff to talk about besides what I smoke and not smoke.
Jeebus Crisis OnlyFans, everybody.
Oh God. It is real. It is real. Have fun.
I might bring a rooster to your house.
Oh, jeez.
Just so you can smoke it.
Are we going to break yet?
Right, we'll be back.
In Bainbridge town, in the county town, one morning last July, from a boring green came a sweet Colleen, and she smiled as she passed me by. She looked so sweet from her two bare feet to the sheen of her nut brown hair. Such a coaxing out, sure I shook myself for to see I was really there. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the fair Colleen that I met at the county down. As a young wood sped, sure I scratched my head and I looked with a feeling rare. And I says I to the passerbys, the maid with the nut brown hair. He smiled at me and he says he, that's a gem of Ireland's brown. Young Rosie McCann from the banks of the Bank, she's the star of the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the fair Colleen that I met at the county down. Surely
my Sunday clothes. With my shoes shone bright and my hat cocked right for a smile from my nut brown rose. No pipe I'll smoke, no horse I'll yoke, and my clouds is a rust-colored brown. To the smiling bride by my own fireside, since the star of the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Gay, and from Galway to Dublin town. No maid I've seen like the fair Colleen that I met at the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Gay, and from Galway to Dublin town. No maid I've seen like the fair Colleen that I met at the county down.
Listen, none of us may live to see the day it all ends. It's not enough when lucid nights forget you. Waiting years for this, and you're hearing this voice in the back of your head. With every moment spent, with every single rest, you're the pain for this. Leave not one regret. Oh, and it whispers again. Touch us, illuminate us and build it up again. Break what's yours, remake it. Take what's yours, awaken. Keep Twilight strangles our good morning. You've been dreaming wide awake, chasing high anticipation. Each stars will light the way. Listen, none of us may live to see the day it all ends. It's not enough when lucid nights forget you. Listen, do you really want to see the day it all ends? It's not enough to spark the light inside you.
There might be some activities.
There will definitely be
Shorts.
some activities this what do they call it? This eve.
This eve, thine eve. Oh man. So yeah, for those just tuning in, we just got done ranting about Halo Infinite and how much better it looks and how we're all gonna buy an Xbox Series X, and we're all Team Green now.
It's
So-
true. We've relinquished our ability to comprehend common sense. And
Yeah, and a PS5. We can't get one, so we might as well get something, right?
Time to buy a refrigerator.
oh, dude, I
I'm
can't wait to
probably
put my
gonna-
ping pong ball on it.
I want one of those refrigerators.
I
I
watched
really do.
totally off topic. I watched a dude convert a deep chest freezer into an ice maker, so the whole deep chest freezer just fills up with ice like over the course of like a few days or whatever. And he's like, I got all the
Yeah.
ice in the world.
Wow! Congratulations.
You learned how to freeze water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, throw a freaking camera in that chest freezer, and you got yourself a Twitch channel.
I mean, it makes sense if you go through a lot of ice, but I don't know why you're gonna be I think he ended up being like $680 in the hole to make a chest freezer into an ice maker.
Cool. Well, I mean, I bought a few ice makers for different jobs I've worked at, and those things are not cheap. They are really not cheap.
No, well, I mean, I still have a Frigidaire. It's a Frigidaire 14 from 1952, and it still works, and it runs on R12.
Oh, nice. That's okay. I just bought a car like a month ago that still is full of R12 and works great.
That's
super cold.
crazy. Oh, it's super.
I'm just
cold
gonna cut that line and watch the friggin' ozone put a big old hole in it.
Dude, I miss R12 so much. It just had better cold air. You know,
Yeah,
the
lower
134A.
pressures, colder air. It worked. Is it cancerous? I'm sure.
Yeah, it'll totally
Just like
ruin your life.
asbestos. Asbestos works so much better than everything else. But then there's that other thing it does too.
Right. Mesothelioma.
Do you have it?
I was going to say, if you or your family members have been affected, call us now.
And those same lawyers work for Nintendo. Oh shit. That's what they do in their off time. Oh, God.
Yep.
So Neo the World's End with you demo arrives tomorrow. And Billy, if you want to pull up some of that footage, I know I didn't give you any warning, but it's it looks pretty good. I gotta say, for a PS4 game, which to me is pretty awesome that we have a new PS4 game and it looks great. It's an artistic style, but it's good to see some PS4 love.
Yeah.
And it looks fun. It's full of Japanese lore, which is a special place in my heart. I love Japanese lore because it's full of horror elements. And
I was going to say, the Japanese horror lore is pretty damn insane.
yeah, I mean, to the point where there's nothing that's normal, you know, where it might be a tree or a ghost or a spirit or humans that become reanimated. I mean, everything is out there. There's a reason Japan's so freaking crazy, because there's so much horror lore out there that, I mean, and a lot of it's true in a way. But yeah, a lot of the boss fights get pretty intense with this game, and the demo, like this friggin' penguins, like that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, the art style is really, really good.
Yeah, and it's almost open world-ish, but it just plays super cool. Like I want to check this demo out.
It makes me think of like the old school 80s cartoons, and I love
For
that
real.
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we have a resurgence of that coming, and this definitely looks cool.
There was a fighting called Persona.
Yeah, Persona 4.
It
I mean,
reminds me of that.
I could see that. I kind of like the comic book elements in there. Like, look at this giant teddy bear, like shooting lasers at its eyes, and it's like demonic. Like, that's Japanese horror. It's so freaking batshit crazy. It's awesome. So yeah, if you don't like anime at all, this is probably not your game, but it still is probably fun. Yeah, I mean, for a PS4 game, it's probably not hugely hardware intensive, but from the research I've gathered, the battle mechanics are easy to learn and adapt to, but it gets very complicated. So these boss fights, I've heard compared to Demon Souls, like extremely difficult. So this game you have to warm up into. You can get way above your head in difficulty real quick, but that's kind of part of the joy of it, is you become better and better and you get more addicted to it, and it's still kind of got that kooky fun style and flow to it, but the battle mechanics are pretty intense at times.
They were working on a gesture system, I think, originally as controls, and they were like, nah. Which I thought was cool, because when I was playing like Soul Calibur, like you the way you would move your stick would kind of influence the weapon that you were wielding in certain stances. But yeah, so I thought that was kind of neat. Makes it feel like more intuitive combat.
Yeah, as well as like if you if you move your stick in a sweeping motion slower because you have a big long sword or katana or something, it's going to strike harder than if you just, vigorously move it back and forth. Like,
Yeah.
I love that there's that much more thought put into something rather than just a
button
hack
your
and
way through.
slash. You just pound buttons kind of thing. So yeah, this game's got a lot of pretty good reviews out of the gate for those who have tested it. And they're pretty proud of it. So I think this is one to kind of check out. Just download the demo. It's free. Give it a shot. Tell us what you think. I think this is one of those hidden gems that obviously is going to blow you away with ray tracing and graphics, but I think it's going to be so much fun. It still looks good because it's in a more artistic style. I think it's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, and it launches July 27th. And I think even Ito said, there's going to be a demo out.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. And so if you save the game before the final boss battle, you can really explore the available area inside the demo rather than just blowing through the demo. So it sounds like there's more to the demo than meets the eye.
Ooh.
And the save carries over to, if you do buy the game,
I love that.
Yeah, that's thoughtful.
Yes, that's one thing as a guy who's shy about good demos and playing it all the way through, which we just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cool playing the demo all the way through if I know it transitions over and they basically make it rewarding if you buy the whole game. That's awesome. So they accidentally leaked the game release on Twitter. So we'll see if it still holds up to July 27th. But yeah, I think it's worth a check. I really do.
Oh, so the demo release is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Down to PS4, no less. So all us PS5 not having motherfuckers can actually take part.
We can actually do stuff now?
Yeah. Yay.
A new game. Woo.
Yeah. We're part of the party. So, yeah.
Before we go into PC news, though, you've got to tell me about this Dell thing that you told me to remind you about at the beginning.
So Dell is under a major class action lawsuit in like 7 states, all Western states, and the Alienware brand. So the last 2 generations of Alienware laptops Dell has went on record and stated in multiple articles and every kind of news fashion that these are upgradable and it's not proprietary. You can take next gen CPUs, GPUs, whatever, RAM, and upgrade your laptop. Alienware is known to be a gaming-esque brand, and I know that's very arguable, but they said you can upgrade your laptop. And in true Dell fashion, we have channels like Gamers Nexus and many others that have acquired said hardware, pulled it apart, and is like, sweet, it's got an Intel 10960K, and let's put an 11900 or whatever in it just to see what we can do, because they knew this is Dell. There's a chance there's some douchebaggery going on, and sure as hell, the socket's different, the motherboard's totally custom, the graphics is totally custom, and you can't do shit with it. You bought what you bought, and you paid an extreme amount of money for it, and it's already running last gen hardware. I don't know why people buy this shit. I really don't. But yeah, they're just lying. Dell is 100% lying to you, and they've done it for decades, and it's just getting worse. And people keep buying their stuff, and it boggles me.
It is a little reminiscent of Gateway, because Gateway was kind of custom built type cases and stuff, but there was still, majority of the time, you can take a Gateway case apart and put in your own components entirely. It's
but the motherboard was 100% yours.
Yeah, if you had an idea of swapping chips out and stuff like that, nah.
Yeah, my buddy, when I got him into PC building back in the day, and he had a nice Gateway desktop for the time, and I know that's an oxymoron, but it had decent components, and he's like, cool, I'm going to dump a graphics card on this thing. Yeah, that ATX slot was not the same, and so he had to return a graphics card, which was a nightmare. So, and it was like, well, dude, it's got this CPU in it. Let's dump a CPU in it. And he was able to put a different CPU in it, but the motherboard lacked support. And there was a new driver we put in, and it made it work decent. So I'm like, cool. And he's like, man, I want to dump this thing in a new case before I put a new motherboard on it, and just kind of have his own gaming rig at that point.
Yeah.
That freaking motherboard wouldn't bolt into any freaking case on the
All
market.
the holes were misaligned.
Oh my god, it was all proprietary. I'm like, damn it, man.
Jerks.
So really turned him off from building PCs because he just had a bad experience one after another, because he had to buy a whole new rig to be able to game on anything newer. So it was just a bad deal, left a bad taste in his mouth. And I think he waited another 3 years before he built anything. But it sucked because we're going to LAN parties. He was really enjoying the culture. It was a fun time. And his hardware,
gateway.
Yep. Dude, you got a gateway. So he should have got a Dell, I guess. That would have really spent double the amount of money on trash.
One might say that Gateway is a gateway to bad problems.
Or gateway to Dell, and then Dell's gateway to bad problems.
Yeah.
True.
Dell's a gateway to Nintendo Switch.
I'm not.
Dell
I'm
is a
not.
gateway to hell.
And I know, right? And I'm not surprised. Like, I mean, I don't know. I've never been like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna get a computer. Like if I was gonna get a laptop, my first thought is not Dell. There's no way in hell that my first go-to is like, oh yeah, Dell makes computers. No. Like I'm looking for stuff like Acer, and even Acer's kind of wishy-washy. But
I like Asus or however the fuck you say it.
Asus is typically pretty good.
Yeah. If
But
you're
usually
going to gaming, Asus is kind of the thing. Razer, with their extremeness,
Ultimate. Never been done before. It'll blow your mind. It's
the
insane.
thinnest, fastest, smallest.
Extreme.
Yeah. There's
So
that.
extreme.
Ultimate.
And
Insane.
small. And so small.
Biblical.
Biblically small.
So then you can't see it.
So small.
So small. but still, like, you know.
I feel bad, Phil, because you have all these people building PCs for the first time, and you have to look at pre-builds. Like, it's so tough to get hardware.
Right.
But that being said, a lot of people who are looking at Alienware as a gaming brand that's a place to start as a pre-build, because their websites have always been awesome and their products look cool and lights and shit like that. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
But anybody who knows Alienware is never going to go that route. It's the new wave of people building and buying that Alienware seems like a really cool, trendy gaming brand, and their shit looks awesome. And they don't know what we know, where Alienware was overly expensive, but it was pretty cool shit. And their
solid builds, yeah.
And their pre-builds, their cases were top tier. You couldn't buy a better case. In the day of all of us having beige and black boxes, Alienware had this crazy swoopy shit with lights in it before we even had lights and stuff. Alienware was badass. Yeah, I'm talking the era of beige.
I said the beige towers.
Yeah.
Hey man, I still got my beige towers. I'm proud of.
I remember my dad had this like
my life alert
that
machine.
was as tall as the freaking desk, and I was like, oof. I think back on that now, and I'm just like, oof, that's a lot of PC.
My dad had one that was tall. It was not only a full tower case. It should have probably been like a full like server tower case. But it had. I mean, it was big enough that it had freaking caster wheels on it. So
oh my god,
my dad had like a similar thing.
And
it was like an extra table for him.
Yeah.
Next
Well, and what even blew my mind further is that thing had like 5.25 inch bays in it. And it's just like you're only using one CD-ROM, and then you have the one 3.5 inch floppy bay adapter thing in the front too, just below that.
And then all these blank slots below.
And then there's three empties. And then
I might get a DVD writer, man.
Well, no, I'm sorry, I misspoke. It was the one CD-ROM drive, and then there was two of the 3.5 inch bays, and he had the one floppy drive in there. He did end up putting a zip drive on it. So there was a zip drive, the 3.5 inch floppy, one CD-ROM, and 4 empty bays. I don't even know. know.
More fans? I don't know.
There wasn't even a big thing of fans in the front of it. It was like your standard, 180 millimeter or something like that. And then there was one fan in the back. Like there was no venting from the top. There was just the front, the back, and the rest of it was a closed case.
Yep.
And all beige.
and steel back when they were doing the real steel cages.
150
Heavy.
pound steel.
Yeah, super heavy cages, and I love those things, man. I was actually just talking to my dad about we still have the IBM Fountain 2. That thing is like as big as, well, big. It's big. Think of like a 16-inch pizza box.
Wow.
It's like gigantic, and then it like weighs like 80 pounds.
I love it when people custom make like an old beige box, like an old compact e-machine thing with this horrible plastic front that had one little light for the hard disk drive, and then they dump like top of the line gaming shit in it with like drill a bunch of holes behind the plastic so it actually flows air.
Yeah,
And you just like roll up to your buddy's house and dump this heavy ass compact machine on there. Like, what the fuck is that? It's like, bro, we're gonna play Doom Eternal. It's like, no, you're not.
I have an e-machine case. I have an old HP case. I have an e-machine case where the button, the plastic E button that would light up on the front, that was your power button.
Yep.
That button is totally like blown out, and then there's the so the plastic's not even there anymore. You have to actually physically contact the button.
Yes.
And because it got jammed, and I still think I have the monitor that accompanied it. It too had the little power button with the E plastic E on it.
Swoopy E.
And that thing had to get ripped out so you could push the button on the inside.
They're so shitty. The power buttons weren't good.
Yeah.
It's so awesome.
It's
Oh,
pretty
man.
amazing to walk into that room and just be like, "Fuck, this shit's old."
Yeah. Woo, I remember that. Damn. It's like the fax machine noise.
I still remember-
Don't know what that is.
I still remember Mom getting her first Gateway, and it was a 333 megahertz Pentium 2, similar to the one that I ended up building, and it had a 1 gigabyte hard drive. Woo boy!
Whoa.
Man.
It wasn't 1 gigabyte. It was like 700 something
Yeah, it was
megabytes.
more like 820.
Yeah, it was pretty bad when you formatted it. But
hey, all I had to worry about was being able to put on like Commander Keen and Doom 2 and StarCraft.
Yeah,
StarCraft
we're
was
like-
a big one, dude.
yeah, we're
The
like
fact that you could fit
50
3
megabyte.
games
Yeah.
on a gig.
Hey, games were smaller back
I
then, all right?
know.
Which
And
also
they were-
reminds me, I recovered my original Doom or Diablo 2 CD set. So I've
Oh,
got the
sweet.
disc 1, disc 2 with the authentication code, the key or whatever. I'm tempted to try to install it just to see how it's going to run. I have to run it from DOSBox anyway, so
That's awesome.
how cool
Yeah,
would it be to play the original Diablo 2?
Dude.
that would be pretty awesome. I think it would be easier to just go on Blizzard's website and just put in that product code, the authentication code, and they're like, that doesn't exist anymore. You're like, come on. And you just be like, all right, well,
but I have
give
the
me download.
physical CDs.
Yeah, I will email you pictures of the shit, and you're going to send me the download for Diablo 2.
I remember when Diablo 2 came out, I went over to my friend at the time. His name was Matt, and he had just gotten the Diablo 2 set. And the first time Tristram pulled up and the music started playing, we were just like, "Whoa!"
Dude, Diablo 2 is a shit.
We were hooked. Like we were hooked.
Dude, the CD case hooked me because it always looks so badass. I'm like,
Oh
I
yeah,
wanna
with
play
Diablo
that
right on
game.
the front. Bruh.
Yep. Freaking devil on flames and
I can
shit.
go run and get it and show you. You want me to get it? I'll get it.
Yes,
Want me to
please.
get it?
Oh yeah. So Diablo, awesome. They're coming out with another remastered-esque next generation installment. It looks awesome. I know it plays like old school, and that's okay. It's been a long time since we've had anything good from Blizzard. So, I mean, look at World of Warcraft. If you downloaded that thing in like 2003, it was, I don't know, a couple gigs, and now it's probably like 200 gigs. It's crazy how much these games change over time. There's still a large install base, and they keep making it better and better. Yes.
I'm covering the
That's what we're
product
talking
key, so you can't steal my shit.
Mature. I don't know what mature was about that other than blood.
This was the one that you can compete for free over the internet. And dude, just looking when I opened this up and saw how pristine these discs were, I was so pleased. Like
Damn. Look at that. The case has no dust in it.
nothing, man. It's pristine.
Dang, I'd rate that a solid 8 right there.
The outside of the case is not so great, but yeah, even the discs, they're not scratched at all.
Whoa.
It's 100% clean.
Dang.
I remember.
I giggled. I giggled when my dad handed me this. I was like, hee.
Yeah,
takes me back.
nostalgia.
Yeah.
How I got
I
into
opened it.
playing Diablo 2 is my dad actually bought the game for himself, and I played games on his computer, and so I just played the games he had, and that was one of the ones that I got hooked on.
Nice.
Dude, check out those intense graphics.
Oh yeah,
Dang.
evil has survived.
Yeah. Oh, that just takes me. Oh man, so many hours blown on that game over the summer. Like that's all we would do. We would go over it. We'd spend the night at each other's houses, and we'd just bring the game back and forth, and we would just stay up all night playing it.
That's what's up. I love that. Man, those stories are awesome. That's what gaming's all about. And now we get CD Projekt Red. So yeah, we've taken a couple steps back.
Come a long way.
AMD is trying to move forward, and we're gonna cover two topics with AMD. One is really great, and the other is really sad. So we'll start with the shit first. Let's eat our shit sandwich, and that is that AMD in this time in age where it is so difficult to obtain a graphics card for okay money. I'm not even going to say original MSRP because that shit don't happen, but just decent money. It's tough. And we have Micro Center next to us. They have AMD on the shelf every day.
Yep.
But
nobody wants to buy it.
Yeah, 6900 XT is $2,500. And keep in mind, Micro Center doesn't gouge you. This is what it's going for.
Yeah, that's what they want. That's what they want.
Yeah, that is set by the manufacturer, and that is absolutely crazy. So yeah, they're just sitting and rotting on the shelves when a lot of people are like dying to just be able to buy a card. And here in Kansas City, we're spoiled. But I'm not paying that price. F all that noise.
Yeah,
I bought a 3090 for way less than a 6900 XT. That's
still not cheap. Good God.
No, hell no, it wasn't cheap. And I'm still ashamed, but I have something.
And apparently it operates at 357 degrees Celsius.
I saw that and was like,
nobody
what?
fucking responded. You come on. You
No.
left me
When you sent that, I saw it and I was like, there is no reason to respond because everything I'm going to say at this point is just going to be unbridled. Like, what is wrong with you?
What the hell did you do? It was in the middle of a driver update and I looked over. I'm like, holy shit. And I'm like, I get a picture of that real quick because
by the way, NZXT, way to go, freaking Jeff out. Slow clap.
Yeah. So AMD is they drop support on a bunch of older cards, and I've been watching a bunch of reviewers, a bunch of hardware reviewers, and everyone echoes the same thing. How I feel if they would have done this shit next year, nobody would care. You know, I feel like we've had enough time where people have upgraded, or it's so old now. Like these cards are 5 and 6 years old currently. That's old for a video card, but to just drop support in this environment, and trust me, AMD's probably going to support this another year. They've said this before. It was rumored before, and then they're like, whoa, no, we're going to still support these. And then now they've dropped the hammer and said they're not. You know, they didn't come out and say it, but you look at the website and you see things are not moving to the next driver stack, and they're losing support on these older cards. And it's just shitty. It's a terrible PR move right now because everyone's either stuck with what they've got or you've got to go old just to be able to afford something, because paying $1,000 premium on a mid-grade card, I mean, $1,000. MSRP is like $700. And right now, if you find it at Micro Center, it's like $1,700. That's freaking crazy. So also let that sink in. AMD is pulling a lot of support for these cards, and it's just a bad move. Now,
particularly at this point in time, and I had my own reservations when AMD was getting back into the GPU game. I was like, I'd really appreciate it if you stuck to the CPU side.
Yeah, you're doing good on one thing.
Yeah,
like go with that.
Don't get too distracted. Like, you know, don't don't pull like an Intel or something. Which I mean, Intel's releasing their own GPU.
Wait, what?
Which yeah, Intel's got a GPU coming out. I forget the model number now that I think about it, but it
It's
basically looks like an
absurd.
aluminum shiny block.
That's the low end card that's comparable to like a 580 or something like that, and
Something like that, yeah.
and well, for the, because it has no fan on it, it's passive, just a cheap ass old Chinese little stick on thing, and it works, but it's performing way better than expectations. And this is,
But it has the 10 nanometer chips on it too.
it
the
does,
processor.
but
Yeah.
discrete graphics are probably going to be definite next gen compared to their CPUs. Now, a lot of the rumors are circulating about their heavy cards, their big, mainstay gaming, I guess you could call it that. And there's still just so little info out there. Last week it was, wow, it's going to be better than the 3070 for half the money MSRP, and Intel's going to have a bunch of them. To this week is, hey, the leaks I got and the people in the know are telling me that that's not the case. It's not going to be near that in performance. So before we cover it, I want to get some sort of like legit leaks that actually point us to real data, and we'll go from there in speculation rather than like it's just all over the place. Intel is coming out with more discrete graphics.
I don't know what they're doing though. Like that.
Watch it be awesome, and their CPUs are still piles of shit, and then like the GPUs are amazing. I don't know. I doubt it. I just doubt it. AMD's still trying. They're really trying, and
it feels like they're tapping in a little too late, and they're like, oh, you know what? We misjudged AMD. We thought they would just disappear, and then
hey, don't do that 11900K. I know it sucks, and we don't have an 8-core CPU now. But did you see her graphics card?
Yeah, check out the
die is like that big, but it's a 10 nanometer process. You're like, what the fuck is that?
It's passive cooling is what that is, and it's a big giant shiny aluminum block, which I happen to appreciate.
Yeah, it is worth more at the recycler.
In the days of all blacked out cases and lights and RGB, I want a shiny aluminum block inside my case.
I think that would look pretty good in my case. I really do. It's like a 1993 graphics card. Just plop right in there.
It's like when you pop the hood of an old car and you see like with the original carburetors, and you're just like, oh my god,
wow, that didn't catch on fire on the way here. What happened? Is there a fucking electric motor underneath that thing? Yeah. There's no way that works.
It gives me that old school vibe of everything being in slick shiny metal.
Yeah, because a lot of the premium you guys pay, yes, you're paying for R&D. Yes, you're paying for the expensive 7 nanometer process on a lot of things, but realistically, you're paying a lot for that crazy heat pipe that costs them $13. You're paying a $500 premium, and that black metal shard around it with the RGB in there. You're paying a massive premium for that too.
It's only 3 LEDs that cost, I don't know, about a penny a pop.
Yep.
But man, that's $12 at least.
Num 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 num. I'm gonna eat it up. Rainbow puke, baby. So I mean, I can't say too much shit. I've got one sitting next to me.
Oh yeah, me too. No, and it sucks. Like it's just like I don't really care about the lights. I just don't. I don't need the lights, but they're there. They're on the things that I want, hardware wise. So it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna have RGB puked, but you know, mine's buried behind my monitor, so I never see it.
Yeah, I mean, mine looks good. I'll give it that. I really wanted the NZXT Kraken. I love the screen on that. I'm not using it for GIFs or anything. I love that it says my CPU and GPU temps, usage, all that right in front of me. I love that.
Oh, when I get my Kraken eventually down the road, I am totally, because I'm all about the rainbow puke myself, but I'm also a lighting guy. But I'm totally gonna make that screen say, "Fuck you, Phil. I love rainbow puke."
Just have it scroll nonstop.
That's the awesome video. That's the video I'm gonna get, and then he's gonna change it to something else, like a bouncing dick or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a nice GIF going on in the background.
It'll be the helicopter.
Oh, the helicopter. Yes. Yeah.
And put that on Jeebus OnlyFans. So, but it'll be an actual hot dog, not the real thing.
Sure.
Yep. Yeah, we're doing stuff with this. Oh man, you're only
All I gotta do is make sure that they know that I'm over 18 and we're off.
Whoa, it'll be off all right. So let's get into the meat and potatoes. AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution. It's been benchmarked. Granted, this is early stages, so expect some marketing influx. But Billy's going to pull up a chart, and Phil and I are going to kind of razzle dazzle through this.
I like how Billy was about to play a game on his phone, and he's like, "God damn it!"
You have the freaking link up there, damn it!
I have the link open. I just don't know which thing you want.
It's the AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution
1,
benchmark.
2,
How big
3,
of a
4?
There we go.
Yeah, Godfall. There's they're just some benchmark charts. So AMD Fidelity FX is DLSS for AMD, and they announced this at CES, and we're looking at, I believe they said a 20% improvement across the board, which is huge considering we have all these AMD cards in the field and they're dropping support on a bunch of them. But by the way, we're going to give you a driver update. Historically, that's gone well for AMD, and it's all going to work faster and better. And they're saying to the tune of like your 1080p gaming experience, your card's only going to have to render it. What was that, Phil? Like a 980 or 960 by 540 resolution, and it'll be 1080p. Now that's essentially what DLSS is, but those numbers they sound pretty nuts. You're essentially, I'm going to become twice as powerful with half the effort. It's like if we cut gravity in half right now, I could jump and do slam dunks all the time without trying, and that's essentially kind of the same thing.
And sorry, I'm getting Billy. If you scroll up to that Godfall thing where you can slide the picture left and right, you can show how performance and ultra quality looks by comparison with FSR off, which I think is a pretty interesting thing to look at.
You're talking about the bar graph that I was on, right?
No, the screen images with Godfall.
Oh, go up. Yeah.
But so the top one shows you the difference with FSR off on the left, and then with the ultra quality on the right. And you'll notice as you slide back and forth, you can see how the fog kind of is not so stiff. Everything's a little smoother.
This is like something, Phil, we've seen for decades now, and it's always like, look at this great ray tracing, this great anti-aliasing, and all this junk. And you're like, I can barely see the difference between the photos. I can for real see a vast difference in the photos here.
Brightness in the lighting, the
crispness of resolution, reflectiveness, like it's all better.
Yeah, the one on the bottom is going to be Godfall with FSR off on the left, and the performance mode on the right. Which there's a keen difference between that, where
and that's performance mode. That's not even ultra quality.
Yeah, and there's some cleanup on the lighting. The lighting kind of pops out a little bit more. The fog again becomes another thing where it's more detailed. As well as the little,
which we hate, but
it's as well as that little sconce off into the background. You can see where the light just kind of pokes through the object, but then when you have performance on, it stays where it's supposed to be. Yeah. It's an interesting effect, and it does theoretically have the ability to outperform, but right now DLSS 2 I think is probably the way it goes, because that's basically pre-rendered. It is already been pre-rendered. Yeah, you still have kind of a performance hit by comparison to just the to FSR, but still, like it gives you a higher fidelity image using DLSS than the FSR, in my opinion. That probably will change as it gets better, but I think it's awesome that AMD is finally doing something like this.
You know what's the best about this is we all know NVIDIA sandbags. We all know these drivers that they give you are iterations of what they want to give you. But what this does is it's AMD becoming relevant. And really what it does, it forces NVIDIA to do better. And NVIDIA is lazy, just like Intel. They gave us a 3000 series cards, which were a huge difference from 2000. And because if you want to compare the 10,000 or the 1000 to 2000 series, like the 1080 Ti and the 2080 Ti was a massive big flop. There really wasn't much shit for difference. The cost went way up on the 2000 series cards, but the 3000 series were cheaper, as well as, like, 30 to 40% better for less money. That's only because AMD came out of the woodwork and said, hey, we're going to fuck this up for you, and we're going to come out swinging. That made NVIDIA do better, because our 3000 series cards would have been trash. It would have just been the next small increase and a large increase in cost, and we would have just ate it up because NVIDIA was all we had. So this is just awesome. Even if I don't buy an AMD card, which I don't have currently, but it still pushes everything forward. Like what AMD did to Intel in the CPU market, it pushed everything forwards. The unfortunate thing is Intel wasn't ready for it. So all of us
Intel was asleep at the wheel, man.
Yeah.
And I remember when I started researching my PC build, there was a lot of people that were just Intel, and I'm just like, oh my god, like Intel's going down the tubes.
I mean, I have an Intel at the other side of the room.
Let me rephrase: not going down the tubes, but not doing anything cool.
Yeah, they're not innovating, because they're still good processors, but they were the same good processor 10 years ago when we really haven't gotten anything from there.
They are reliable for sure.
Yes, and Intel still makes a good product. Like, I was looking at a 9900K last year, because that's a hell of an 8-core CPU.
Yeah.
Best gaming CPU, arguably, till recent. And we've gone through 2 generations since then from Intel, and they've literally made it worse and hotter, and we haven't gotten anywhere. But AMD is just like, yeah, here's Ryzen Zen 2, and it was like, whoa, this is great in every way except not quite as good as Intel with gaming. And they're like, yeah, here's Zen 3. Here you go. And it's like, oh shit, Intel literally has nothing. I mean, it's arguable with gaming. It is better on Team Red, just barely, but everything else is like a complete crapshoot that is Intel can't hold a candle.
Just the fact that they were stuck on that 14 nanometers for so long to get the job done for what they were doing, it was like, how, guys, like, you're not keeping up with, like, manufacturing and production. And like AMD was like, oh yeah, we're gonna go 10, we're gonna go 12, 7.
Yeah, TSMC is making 5 nanometer and 4 nanometer and 1 nanometer, and Intel's still to this day doing 14. Like, select 10 nanometer shit in laptops that isn't bleeding edge, but there's still 14 nanometer. And
I always have to remind myself when we talk about nanometer that it's literally a nanometer. And you got to think like a 1 nanometer chip, like a processor just blows.
You have to see mind. With the electron microscope to see a friggin' nanometer.
It just blows my mind how small these chips have gotten, and it's awesome. I mean, it's great. But yeah, the whole idea that Intel's just been stuck on their same old, managing to come up with a new CPU and requiring it to be accompanied with a new motherboard. I don't know. Like, come on.
Yeah, so I gotta tell you guys some truthisms here. So I had to get my PC together to bench test everything because I just am worried about warranty and having DOA parts.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And here we go. I had it. My Ryzen 9 was DOA. I fought Windows install for 3 days, probably spent at least 20 hours. And I'm like, am I that retarded? I can't, pardon my French, I can't figure out how to just put Windows on something. And did I just screw something together wrong? I'm just like, this is not difficult. I've done it multiple times before, but I'm like, it's been years.
So the Windows install was halting on you?
Well, I successfully did it like 3 times, but I would get blue screens, infinite loops afterwards, and it made no sense. Yeah. Yeah. So my guy I bought stuff from at Micro Center, good dude. And I become friends with them. And I just, dude, I unleashed it. And it's like, hey, I'm not pissed at you, but can you hear me out for a second? And I just sent him a bunch of texts about how pissed off I was about the whole thing. And I'm like, I think I got a motherboard problem. And freaking Asus and their Armory crate, I just want to strangle them because it's bullshit. And all of this, that, and the other. And it's like, I can't do anything. It craps halfway through an install and then fucks everything up. So I don't know what to do. And I took a picture of a couple blue screens, with the frowny face. Thanks, Windows, for rubbing it in my face. I just want to punch whoever decided that blue screen was smart. And he's like, hey, notice the error code. Gave it to my service tech. He's like, dude, you got a bad CPU. We're almost 100%. Your CPU is bad. And I'm like, really? And he's like, are you sure you have no bent pins? I'm like, I've been there before. I'm damn sure I don't have bent pins. It just plops right in the socket and you just carefully fold the arm. But I fucked it up before, so I know what bent pins do. So I'm like, cool. I yank it all apart at work. I bring it to work as I'm like at my lunch break, pulling freaking CPU out, wiping thermal paste, flipping it over. I'm like, thank freaking God. No bent pins. He's like, cool, bring it in. I know it's been past 15 days since you got it, but you didn't have a graphics card. Talked to my boss. It's good. Walked in, snagged another 5900X, went home. I'm jam up. And this was yesterday afternoon. So, I mean, I fought it 3 days straight just to freaking get Windows installed.
That's ridiculous, man.
Oh, dude, I was so pissed.
Props to the Micro Center guys for spotting the probably CPU issue, because that's exactly where I was going. I was like, that sounds like a CPU being all weird. Which it happens. I mean, it does.
Sure. DLA stuff, they're cramming stuff through the manufacturing as fast as they can. QC is going to slip because wafers aren't there. So they have to send everything out the door. I get it. It sucks. It's happened to me before, but
it's literally become to the point where it's so short and they need the money so bad that they are willing to lower their QA. Yep. And not knowingly doing this, but they're sending out, well, it may be defective testing, but it may not be defective. And they're like, fine, we'll accept the RMA on that. And then they just push customer service to be like, no, your chip's fine.
Did you check this? You got to battle for it. You got a bad USB drive for Windows installer.
I need you to go ahead and turn it off and back on again. But yeah, here's probably a pro tip, especially if you're getting ready to build a computer. If you've got a clean Windows 10 USB installer, you got it on your USB stick or whatever.
Yep.
If you go and put that in, you set it up in BIOS, make sure that it boots off that USB stick. If there's an issue with Windows 10 installing, there's probably some, like, especially the blue screen part, that's hardware related.
Usually,
so you need to start isolating which part of your hardware might be dead.
But what's goofy is I could install it. I did it a few times and it booted, and I got into I even had an interview over, Zoom, and I had the whole interview for an hour and a half, and everything was great. But I just knew as soon as I click anything, blue screen. I don't know how I made it through an interview, but I did it, and I was like, man, maybe it's just shitty Windows install. So I got a new USB drive. I downloaded it from another computer, which was a Mac, and that didn't work. So I went to work and did it on a Windows desktop, and still didn't work. So I was literally commanding different files to boot differently. Like, I was getting deep in it, like 20 years back of diagnosing stuff that was software related. And I found a lot of issues with Asus motherboards. I reflashed my BIOS because
and that was going to be the part. That was going to be the part that would have surprised me, as if it was the motherboard, because typically your motherboard is going to throw IRQ faults or something,
command prompt issues with
or it simply just won't work. Like usually or it could be an outdated BIOS, but usually I've noticed that Asus is pretty good about keeping the boards they ship out as up to date as possible.
Not Ryzen 5.
Not Ryzen 5. So you had to flash it. Yeah.
It was literally across the board. I had to flash it because it was 3 months out of date, and there was 2 other BIOS improvements. So that could have been an issue. So I learned how to do that without being able to boot into anything. That was interesting.
They make it super easy. You can put it on a USB stick from another computer and just pop it in and boot into it.
Nope. It was not easy with mine. You have to rename the BIOS for it to see it and install properly. If you don't use a BIOS renamer through ASUS the right way, it will break your motherboard. And
well, yeah, that's why it's there. I mean, I'm sorry. Maybe you're just not familiar with the ASUS board, but this is totally normal to me. This is like, oh yeah, if that fails, then yeah, you got to do this, and you got to do it through their website thing and make sure it gets renamed, and then you just plug the thing in, and then you flash, and it's done.
Yeah, because I have the reset buttons, the clear CMOS, did all that, learned all that.
Clear CMOS is gonna save your ass one day. I just bet on it because my beast. I took it over to my brother's to clean it out. I'm sure there was an electrostatic discharge because I was air hosing the thing out and vacuuming it out. Like it was bad. It was really bad.
We got dogs. There's hair.
Yeah, it happens. Put everything back together. All the contacts were clean, so I didn't think it was anything like that. But it got a discharge, so I did a clear CMOS. Fired right back up. And I was freaking out because I was like, dude, I love that Formula 4 board. It is so cool. But that's on my old beast. But that Formula 4 board has served me so damn well. And
you're like,
so that's why I went with
or ruin it,
Yeah, that's why I went with the Hero 8 this time. Because I was like, that CMOS button, I'm sold. Like it's so easy to just bounce that thing back to life.
So which motherboard did you get? Since we're kind of coming up to the end of the hour, let's just BS. Which you got a Hero 8. I got a Hero 8 Wi-Fi. I have 4 different motherboard buttons for different commands on mine.
No, we got the same board then. Okay. I have the one with the Wi-Fi.
I'm the one who has the same board, just no Wi-Fi.
We all have the same motherboard.
Yeah, so I'm just like, damn it. I bought ASUS because I've done Gigabyte, I've done MSI, I've done ASRock, I've done all of it.
I cringe when people go for MSI boards, and I'm not to say that they won't serve their purpose. Right. My problem with MSI is MSI.
Yep. MSI software is the worst in my opinion. I ran Gigabyte for a while and had great luck. But you know what? I had more hardware failures on Gigabyte than I've had with anybody else.
I would usually go EVGA on graphics cards. I would go ASUS on motherboards. After the Pentium days.
That and when you had a choice of who to buy from.
Yeah, exactly.
That's another freaking kick in the nads.
Gigabyte. I think I used their RAM or something rather.
Yeah. Corsair, Crucial, Ballistic.
Corsair, I usually go for on power supply and memory.
It's the first time I went with G-Skill RAM that was optimized for Ryzen because Micro Center I was going to get some cheap Ballistic, which is great reviews.
G-Skill's fantastic. I was really impressed with the performance of the RAM. God damn it, I forgot to capture the benchmark. I ran a memory benchmark and it was good. I mean, it was solid.
What's your cast latency, if I can ask, if you remember?
I want to say it was 16.
Yeah, that's what I got too.
So
I mean, I got the Trident Z. I didn't want the RGB, but they had it for cheaper than the non-RGB at Micro Center for whatever reason.
Billy, can you look that up real fast? You know what you bought.
Wait.
It's either 16 or 18. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. I got it.
I mean, I know what I bought. I can look it right up. But
Micro Center emails my receipts, so I look up everything very quickly. Yeah.
So
it's great if you need to return anything, Phil.
Probably. So
yeah,
3600. Yeah, it is 18. Okay, never mind. I misspoke. It's 18.
Realistically, CAS 16, CAS 18 latency, it does make a difference with Ryzen, but to the average, less than the average user, realistically, your memory timings are going to matter so much less unless you're really pushing data through that. Gaming-wise, it's not going to matter. Maybe 1 or 2 frames per second, maybe, probably not.
I've got 2 16 gigabit sticks, so 32 gigabytes, and dude, I've thrown a lot of stuff at it, and I've never capped out the RAM.
Yeah,
I've-
let's see.
I've- I think the highest I got it to go was using DaVinci Resolve, but DaVinci Resolve will suck up any free RAM it possibly can.
Yep.
Which is kind of nice because it's impressive when you're using just Resolve and it takes over your computer like that. Like video editing is amazing. Like I'm sitting there just like dink dink dink, and it's like playing the sound along with the video with me, so I can.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, Resolve is great for video editing. But anyways, yeah, 32 gigabytes of RAM. That's the only time it's ever been consumed. Everything else, when I've been running full tilt, playing a video game as well as streaming, I have the little thing up in my little thingy, and the memory, the most I've ever seen it take was 18 gigabytes.
Yeah.
And that's throwing a lot at it.
That's doing it. Yeah.
I was gonna say that the highest I've gotten the top out was DaVinci Resolve, but then the highest before that was when I was messing around with virtual machines. And
Yeah, when you divvy up the extra RAM, yeah.
Yep. I've
Other
had
than that, it
16
hasn't been
plus.
much.
That's why I'm always okay with 16 gigabytes of RAM. 8 gigabytes you can get by with, but typically you're going to run between 9 and 10 gigabytes of RAM if you're streaming and gaming at the same time, because most games take up at least a good 6 to 7 right there.
Right.
But yeah, so every time somebody's like, well, I don't know why my games are stuttering, I was like, how much RAM do you have? 8 gigabytes. I'm like,
It used to be okay. Now it's arguable. You could still get by with 8. I mean, a full bore top tier machine, 8 gigs, you're going to hit the threshold, but it's not going to hurt you.
No. And honestly, I only hear that when it comes to people who are streaming on just 8 gigabytes. It's like, no, if you're going to stream, 16 is about where you got to be baseline.
But it's just a gaming machine. You could probably get by on 8.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
people get
for
away with
sure.
that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I think the standard now is 16, and
Well,
I think 32 is becoming more of the recommendation, just because if you're going to keep it for years, I think 32 is smart.
Well, and just to put a little perspective on it, and when you think about what Billy and I got for memory for 32 gigabytes, it's about $190. 32 gigabytes of RAM, like 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
That you would have spent more on RAM than anything else in your
exactly.
PC.
Like I mean, $200 for 32 gigabytes of RAM at this point. I mean, it's economically feasible to just go ahead and go for at least 16, because that's half that. So $90,
And if you're going to buy 116, buy 2 and run it dual channel, and then bammo.
I do happen to agree with your lower latency multiple channel memory solution. I do agree with that.
With Ryzen 3 and 5 is very much so a thing.
Yeah, 3 and 5 I do agree with. In hindsight, originally I would have kind of told you, I'd be like, oh dude, fuck off, like that's not really a thing. But there are small performance differences, especially when you get to the 5000 series Ryzen 9.
And realistically, unless you're running top tier components like that, 16 gigs of whatever the hell's cheap, cast latency 18 is more than adequate.
It's fine. I mean, there's even if you can find it for cast 14, that's amazing.
Wow. Yeah. That's when the frickin' dollar amount starts changing.
Yeah, it goes way up. But
did you get 3600?
Building my PC, you had me just look to see how much they were, and like I looked up the cast 14 ones, and we both were just like, "Ooh,
nope." Yeah,
and honestly, your cast 14 needs are probably going to be because you're doing heavy video audio editing, something to the tune of a Hollywood movie, I guess.
Yeah, 8K rendering kind of stuff for assets, and yeah. I mean, you realistically need to be so CPU heavy in a task for hours to see where cast 14 RAM actually helps you.
Let's see.
And gaming, it's not going to matter.
Sheer curiosity, I had to bring it up. So for 32 gigabytes, and that's 4 by 8 gigabytes, so that you get your full channel memory, running at 3600, 14 CAS is $531.
Oh my God. Wow. And that's 8 gig sticks, no less.
Yeah. 4 8 gig sticks at a CAS of 14. Yeah. And that's
Damn.
3600. So most you could probably go 3800 if you got a good motherboard like we do, but you have to make sure that you enable the was it the XMP? No, that's not XMP.
The
other
some acronym close to that. Yeah.
I know
mean,
it when I see it. There's two options when you go to your BIOS. It's XMP and the other thing.
Mine was just set your DRAM megahertz manually, and you just
you could do that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking about the presets that they have.
Yep. Yeah, in like MSI boards. Yeah.
But if you wanted to go 64 gigs, and that's 8 cards or 8 sticks of RAM at 3600 14 CAS, that's $850.
Oh, that's a deal compared to 4 sticks.
I know, right?
Shit. Wow.
It's like, but now you have to have 8 slots for
Threadripper.
Yeah.
Yep.
Threadripper.
And if you're running Threadripper, 32 gigs is probably not
you
enough.
can probably go ahead and afford that.
Yeah. You might want to start at 128 gigs of RAM.
Considering the Threadripper's like double the cost of my entire PC.
Every time I see somebody throwing down a Threadripper in their PC builds they're like, oh, I'm doing this for video editing. I'm like, you're doing it because you're an asshole and you're putting it on the internet. But I would watch those videos and I'm just like, oh, I want one so bad.
24 cores, and that's not even a big one.
Trust me, at that point, I will enthusiast enough to find ways to blow that chip out.
It's fun. At that point, you're just like, I'm going to throw everything at this, benchmark, render. I don't give a shit. I will find shit. People.
Throw the benchmarks away. I mean, that's just to make sure your hardware is doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like virtual machines, virtual servers. I'm just going to throw all kinds of crap.
Minecraft. I don't care. We're just going to do everything.
I'll have you and Billy log into my system so you can play games while I'm playing other games, and you can just borrow my games on my system and just
host the server.
Just watch it work and just let you guys just play everything.
Yes, my pretties. Yes,
this little virtual environment I've created for you. Come.
Yeah. Come have fun in my environment. Yes.
I've got all the goodies.
Yes,
I mean, I would seriously like if I were able to just, I would never be able to afford nor want to try to afford one of those machines because it's a waste of money for what I need.
Gigantic
waste.
But
man, if one landed in my lap that I could just have like just built out like decked out, totally. I'd be like, guys, you want to do tournament Duke Nukem 3D? Let's go, man. 64 edition. Let's do it.
Yep. And not just you. Let's do like, I don't know, 150 of you. Let's all do it.
Just like everybody. It's a block party on the internet.
On one computer.
Let's cripple.
Yeah. It's like if you guys don't want to play Duke Nukem, that's cool. I got Descent loaded up on this other server, and I even put in some goodies, Super Nintendo and Nintendo over there in this server. Here's the access codes. Enjoy. And I would just have this big monitor. This is why I would buy a 65-inch TV. Just to put it on my wall and just watch all the load.
It's like a security camera just to watch this shit happen.
Like, they're attacking the Gibson, like just fucking watch it just up on a wall and play games with you guys and be like, oh, wow, we're still at only 30%, guys. Let's get another couple hundred in.
I mean, I haven't even had to crank down my AC yet. Come on, not trying hard enough.
And all the while we're all playing games, Phil's got like a Pixar.
Have a movie up on another one.
Yeah, he's got a side hustle going on. I'm gonna help out Pixar this afternoon.
just rendering their files.
The next Terminator movie.
I went to their website and I'm donating some of my CPU usage to help render the next blockbuster.
Oh, and I'm gonna also just mine because
they're paying me 0.001 cent for every hour. I'm gonna be rich.
Yep. I got like a few hashes out of that. We're gonna do some Dogecoin because I'm bored while everything's happening.
Yeah. It's like, meanwhile, the server loads only reached 65%.
Yeah.
I remember when I was younger and I was looking at building my own PC and saving up for it as like, a 13, 14-year-old. I remember looking at like an 8-core processor that I was like, oh my god, this is the next big thing, and it was like $800, and now I'm sitting here with a 12-core in my PC, and I'm just like, well, it only took 12 years.
Hey, we made it.
We did. We're here. That's awesome.
Well, that was fun nerding out on.
Thank you for joining and listening to us banter and hearing about my crap stories. I appreciate it.
Hey,
Share my
on your
pain.
357 degrees Celsius GPU surviving.
Yep, it's still working fine. Fans
Is it still,
didn't even kick on.
saying? Does it still say 350 some odd Celsius?
It's 38 right now, so we're good.
Oh, okay. It rounded down by 300. Okay.
Yeah. Oh my god, I couldn't believe that even went on the display. I'm like, I gotta picture that shit right now.
That was pretty good. I was giggling. I was like, you don't know how to build computers.
What a pleb.
What a weeb.
Oh man, I don't know how hot that is in Fahrenheit. I should probably look it up because that's crazy.
It's definitely
you, everyone.
Celsius.
It's definitely, you gotta look it up.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Come on, internets, you can do it. It's 680 degrees is what I was running by display.
And nothing melted, so I'm sure you're good.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Really at that temperature, I think things would have
I
melted.
I think smoke would have left, and it would have just been like incineration.
Dude, the wires would have just popped off. It would have been that situation where you turn it on and you just hear this little.
Yep.
And that anything that like there's no smoke, there's no time for smoke.
No, it would have just been crash.
There's no time for smoke.
No, when it's that hot, it just is done.
We can't get hotter any farther.
Yeah, we can't go harder anymore.
Did you guys just say that at the same time?
Yeah, OnlyFans, Jeebus Crisis, everybody. Check it out.
Why do you keep bringing that up? Anyways, thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight.
I do have a raid.
Yes.
We're gonna raid Spiffy stuff.
Glittery Man.
I was saying nice while I was sipping beer and dribbled it down my chin.
Nice.
As always, Jeff, good to talk to you this week. Good to go over the GPUs again. And
yeah, I'm sure we'll do it again next week somehow.
Oh, I'll probably be around. I'm looking forward to not having to have my laptop somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, we'd appreciate you next week, but I understand you're on PTO, brother. You do what you do.
Oh, this stuff doesn't. This is the weird part. Is this kind of stuff and like streaming doesn't bother me at all. In fact, that's the fun stuff to do. But
cool.
Work, definitely burned out. Definitely burned out.
All out of that.
But yeah, all right. So hey, Billy.
Yeah.
You gonna have a good rest of your week?
I think so. I mean, I just got work. So, yeah.
Sounds crappy.
Yeah.
If only you were in Kansas City. And how's that Tumblr coming along? I hear multiple people have viewed your making of it, and it's going well.
We don't have time for this, Jeff. Anyways,
all right.
Take care of
everybody.
yourself. Stick around for the raid. Let's go raid Spacey Jeff. Yo!
It's almost there.
Let's just click the button.
I can't.
He doesn't want to hear me talk shit anymore.
And bye.
Bye.
Oh,
what
man.
the hell is she playing?
Oh, it's the Shady Cat Greater Than Cage Dog. Oh, what is this? Oh, this